What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to the Uncommon Mindset podcast. Today, I'm joined by a very, very special guest. Today, I'm joined by Michael Hudson. I'll just give you a brief background on who Michael is. Michael is an entrepreneur straight out of London, involved in crypto, and is highly bullish on Bitcoin. He is the founder and CEO of Bitstocks and builder of Gravity. This guy is truly an uncommon individual with a lot of value to provide. It's such an honor to have you on the podcast today, Michael.
Dude, it's an honor to get that intro. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you, man.
You're totally fine. You're totally fine. So I just want to start off by asking this question. I believe that it's the best question to ask just for the foundation of what we're going to be talking about. I'm guessing you get this question all the time. What is Bitcoin for the listeners that don't know what it is?
Sure. So Bitcoin is regarded as a cryptocurrency in the mainstream. That's where people get it wrong. What it is a piece of paper. So the most old archaic thing that's existed for eons of time. And the innovation is it took that piece of paper, it digitized it, and it made it public. So why that's important is when you make a piece of paper public and you design it in a ring that anyone can pull up their chair to that ring, read that paper, pick up a pen, which we call the token, and inscribe on that paper. And that's what the decentralization aspect of Bitcoin is that we have this ledger, this system that can record human interactions and machine interactions in an immutable fashion, that if there is ever an edit, there is evidence of the edit. So this is a very purifying technology that really enforces honesty to any system it's implemented to. So it's just a piece of paper, and the tokens that everyone's running around and buying is just a fancy pen that allows you to write on the piece of paper.
That's awesome. Oh, that's a great introduction there. So yeah, I just want to ask you as well, like, when did you actually get involved with crypto? Like, how did you come across it? Because I know you came across it at an early stage, right? Was it 2012, 2013, was it?
Yeah, so it was around 2012, maybe even slightly earlier. And that's in and around the time that I was quite curious around computer security and data integrity. So I used to frequent hack forums quite often just to see what the latest ways to break things are. And Bitcoin was referenced in the hack forums. I think that was around 2012. But it was referenced in a way that, bear in mind, these places are quite insidious. You've got not the best activities, quite nefarious agendas there. So it's a very scammy environment. So all the payment systems that were being discussed are always deemed to be quite scammy. And then Bitcoin was spoken on, and I just saw it as a scammy version of PayPal at the beginning. So I didn't pay any attention. I just thought these guys are just doing what they do. But it was only really about a year later, who is my now CFO, walked into my office and started telling me that we need to turn all the computers in the office into Bitcoin miners. And then he left me with the paper, and I actually read the paper that time, and that's when I had that epiphany moment that this was fundamentally something different. So I'll say early 2013.
Wow.
I started to get serious. Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah. Is that when you came up with the idea then to start Bitstocks?
Yeah, so upon reading the paper, I locked myself away for at least 6 months, didn't tell anybody what I was working on, and I wrote a 60-page business plan for Bitstocks. I designed our system, platform, even doing like wireframing for the new platform and system, a way of allowing investors to invest and for us to manage their investments in this new area of Bitcoin that there was no framework to have, but I had to forecast everything that somehow the business would need in this new area that no one's developed. And yeah, we managed to get most of it right. So, and that's how we started Bitstocks in April 2014 as an investment house and an educational house. And then we've curbed the investment management side of the business pretty much beginning of this year, and we're now fully committed to just delivering and building Gravity, which is a self-service Bitcoin platform that allows individuals right now to buy and sell Bitcoin in the UK and Europe. But what we're really doing is effectively Monzo on the blockchain and a lot more. So we can unpack wherever you want to go, really, we can unpack.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, no, that's insane. I've looked into Bitstocks and Gravity, and I love that it's so focused on educating people. I love that aspect of it for sure. It's incredible. And Gravity is like one of the biggest platforms to actually buy and sell Bitcoin right now, right? In the UK.
Not the biggest, but we're definitely the best to buy and sell Bitcoin in the UK and Europe. Definitely the biggest, I guess, for BSV in UK and Europe, which right now isn't a hyper impressive statement because the BSV community is still relatively small. But that's also why we are so aggressive on being an educational house, because the people who have been following our work for a number of years will, I'm sure, agree that we've had a very consistent message. And that consistency is around technology. And the irony is, when Investable was an investment house very aggressively then, but our consistent message was technology is how you quantify value, right? In this space, fundamental value. You can have your arbitrary and speculative value, which is what the crypto market is, and cognitive dissonance is all-time high in relation to that. But really follow the technology. And there's going to be a monumental reward for people who have followed that thought process and who are following the technology and following the builders who are building on this technology, because this is really where the real space is. It's the original Bitcoin. And most of the space does not subscribe really to looking under the hood of these cryptocurrencies. Everyone thinks they got Ferrari, but they got Ferrari, but you look under the hood, it's a bloody Skoda engine. So.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. Did you have anyone like, I'm guessing you had loads of doubters, right? And people saying like you're crazy to get into something like this, especially at an early stage where Bitcoin was worth like pennies, right? Not even pennies. What was that like for you? Did you ever feel like just letting it go and not focusing on it at all, or were you always just focused on it?
My early experiences really definitely battle hardened me, and my empirical evidence is that everyone around me that calls me crazy, and not to be this, I'm trying to keep my ego in check when I say this, earn substantially less than me, and that's always been the case ever since I was 13, moving forward. Even by the age of 16, I was earning arguably more than my parents. By the age of 17, 18, I was earning more than everyone I knew. Uncles, parents, friends, their parents. And that's been a constant since. So that breeds that breeds confidence. And ultimately, it's allowed me to really step into a place, to be honest with you, self-mastery, in a discernment where my voice is my compass. However, it is important to create a positive feedback loop around you that can scrutinize you and pull you up on your stupid ideas when you do have stupid ideas. But your inner voice is the most overriding factor. And that's been very battle hardened. So I feel sorry for those who try to dissuade me from doing things I feel passionate about, because they will be steamrolled.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, like having that vision and just sticking to it no matter what other people say is so powerful. And obviously what you've created now is just incredible. So good on you for sure.
On a deep, on a deeper level, there's a more important way to respond to that question. The only way I believe anyone can ever step into the realms of being divine is your own creation. In every way, shape, and form, it's your own creation. If you relinquish your creation to the thought processes of others, that's their creation. By that definition, I'm accepting them as my God. You have to step into your own divinity. And when you step into your own divinity, then things like law of attraction start working for you a lot more efficiently. There's legitimate mechanics to the process of what your thoughts are and how your thoughts manifest.
That's amazing. Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I'm so into mindset, into all of these things. Like I read loads of books on it. So I totally agree with you on that. What what do you this might be like a broad question for you, but what do you think Bitcoin is going to do? Because obviously recently with the news with China, with Elon Musk, coming out and saying he's not accepting Bitcoin anymore, do you think that Bitcoin will go up again, or do you think it's going to drop more and then go up, or are you just not aware of what will happen with it?
So Elon's having a great time right now, pumping and dumping Bitcoin. It's an unregulated market. He's doing nothing that anyone else in this space hasn't been doing for 12 years. Difference is his position is arguably quite grotesque, considering he is crushing the life savings of people who actually in this time in the world can't afford to have their life savings crushed. So when Elon Musk, being the savior of planet Earth, the person who's going to remove us from Earth, take us to Mars just in case Earth is in trouble, is leading a bunch of unwise, unassuming investors like the Pied Piper to buy Bitcoin, dumps on them, then switches to Dogecoin, dumps on them, does the same. Then I think today made a statement about Lightning Network being a solution. Everything that Elon Musk has stated and has ever stated around the subject of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, at least in the last 6 months, has been absolutely effing bullshit. And people investing off the back of what a otherwise incredibly intelligent man, right? But just because someone's incredibly intelligent doesn't mean that you know the agenda and the polarity of his agenda, right? So if he's going to make an extra couple billion here and there by just manipulating a bunch of stupid investors in an unregulated market, for which agenda, I don't know, but that's what he's doing. So that is really personifies the investment space within the cryptocurrency space. It's all BS and hype, and this is what I mean. Everyone is thinking they own a Ferrari or a Lamborghini and not realizing that the chassis came from Skoda and the engine came from Nissan. And if you can't assess these things, then how can you put an adequate price target on it? The only way to put a price target on it is, do I assume that the ignorance and the cognitive dissonance of this technology will continue as such that it will reach X, Y, Z amount of price? I've stepped away from that arena now. I don't like I've never really massively made predictions on these types of things because of the irrationality of the market structure. There's nothing that is fundamental on 98% of the market. So I can't tell you where Bitcoin's going to go in the short term. What I can say to you is in the medium term, so I put medium term 12 months now to 18 months, Bitcoin will experience a very seismic shock to its system, whether that be from a court case coming from the direction of the inventor, Satoshi Nakamoto, Dr. Craig Wright, enforcing his copyright rights over Bitcoin, or whether it's going to be a systemic network driven issue around a protocol change because they know the halving event is coming. So the next halving event would take the block distribution reward from 6.75 to 3.375. And that will have monumental impact to the economic integrity of Bitcoin as a network because you can't process fees in order to go beyond that. So therefore, the desire to mine a block for that reward, if the price isn't substantially higher, becomes a much more difficult argument to pump the price substantially higher because the economic incentive model that keeps people there to make it secure in the first place is deteriorating at a rapid rate. Bitcoin's in trouble. It has been for a while. So this is why the likes of Elon Musk are pushing and promoting misinformation in order to drain that baby for all of the milk that it's got left. And then, as always, unassuming retail investors are going to be left holding the bag at a time where already the middle class is being attacked and eradicated globally. So I don't want to give a price prediction on Bitcoin, long story short. People need to pay attention on the fundamentals And this is why we have Bitstocks Media YouTube channel. This is why we built Gravity. Everything that we have said for years, we're now acting in our actions with a solution with Gravity. And it's not a political thing. I couldn't give a shit about which plumber built the best plumbing system, whether it Vitalik Buterin with Ethereum or Dr. Craig Wright with Bitcoin. The only thing that matters is when I install the system in my goddamn house, I never want to call that fucking plumber again. Whether it's Vitalik or whether it's Craig, I don't want to call him again. I just want my stuff to work. And we're now entering that stage. And when you do have plumbing that works, I think that's the company or that's the infrastructure and protocol that you should be buying and investing in. And that is Bitcoin SV. That's the one that people should be asking, what's the price of and where's the price going to go? And for the ones who are curious, it's only $190 right now, which is, if what I'm saying is right, and right now everyone thinks I'm crazy, our community is crazy for making this statement, which, going by your earlier question, very much fits within my model completely fine. They're going to get a rude awakening.
Wow. Yeah, interesting. You know, I can put my hands up. I've actually invested in Dogecoin. You know, so silly, because I was like, oh, Elon Musk is going to go on SNL. The prices might fluctuate, you know, go up. I invested in it and then they just went down. And I was like, oh no.
Dude, it's like, look, there's nothing. There's nothing wrong with making money from the bullshit that's going on in the market, right? But the most important thing is that when you've made your money, where do you sow your seeds? Where do you plant them? Where do you plant the profits so that tree can grow over time? Because that's wealth, right? So where do you plant your gains? Because jumping from hot potato to hot potato, eventually you're going to put your money on the wrong fucking number and you're going to lose your shit, right? So where do we put our gains? And this is why SV. And this is why Gravity is designed to be where Gravity is, because we can allow people to get exposure to Bitcoin. We're going to add some more coins soon as well, right? So you want to get exposure to Doge and these other things, cool, no problem at all. But follow our education, follow our channel, and then you will know where to sow your seeds. And it's not going to be Dogecoin, because even the inventor created it as a meme. So Elon Musk, being the intelligent, manipulative mofo that he is literally slapping the whole space in their face with a silly fish and saying, you bunch of silly fishes, I'm pumping a meme and you guys are taking me seriously. Are you serious?
I've been slapped by that fish.
Sorry, I'm sorry, but I mean, considering that this is going out to like an audience, I'm just gonna say how it is.
Yeah. What I'll do as well, I'll leave all of you know, the YouTube channel for Bitstocks. I'll leave it down below in the link so people can go and check that out as well, 100%. But yeah, no, that's incredible. Do you think that, because I've heard this thing where governments are not happy with Bitcoin because it's all tracked, right? If you sell a coin, it's all tracked. If you you know, go from one coin to another, it's tracked. Is that true, or is that just something that
on Bitcoin, everything's tracked because it's not cryptographically secured, which is why I said it's not cryptocurrency at the beginning. There are other interpretations of coins that are cryptographically secured, and that is a very big no-no from a compliance standpoint, AML, KYC, etc. You need to know who you're interacting with, and if you obfuscate that trail, then naturally nefarious activities are assumed. Whether they're done or not, it's an assumption, so you won't be allowed to trade on a compliant platform. And there's no way of circumventing compliance in crypto. We've had a good run, but the legal, regulatory and compliance world is hot on the tails, catching up, and the space is maturing. So these things are very, very, very important. Bitcoin tracks every single interaction that has ever taken place on it in a pseudonymous way. So that means that everything is trackable. However, the identity associated to said transaction isn't necessarily known. Now, once you have a compliance infrastructure end to end, you can't really necessarily get around that. There are things in Bitcoin, such as alert keys, that if, say, Gravity was hacked, which in 7 years never happened, we've got 100% track record of never having a breach, well in excess of 10,000 attempts. But let's just say Gravity was breached. you steal gold from my castle. When it leaves the castle, maybe it turns to lead, right? And it sends out an alert to everybody else on the network that if they accept that lead, they need to know that they've accepted gold that has been stolen from the castle. So then that business has a decision to make and says, do we allow this lead to be spent as gold, or do we maintain the fact that this is lead? Because if they allow it to be spent as gold, they as a business will be liable, right? So you won't allow them to trade. And then the individual who's got the lead, then they're going to be scurrying around like a roach trying to find a shadow when you switch on the light, looking for a place to allow them to trade and deal. This is Bitcoin's design. Everything is tracked, traceable, and identity isn't circumvented. It's just for now delayed until we have ways and systems and the regulatory world catches up, which again, Gravity is at the cutting edge of this because we have to be able to trade responsibly to prevent child trafficking, arms dealing, and what have you, and all these other activities happening with Silk Road, etc. But also we need to bring the transparent nature and the kick-ass benefits of this technology to our political systems and our banking systems and every system in between. But you don't penetrate these systems by being an anarchist. I think last year, Portland, America, Chaz is a perfect example. That to me is the cryptocurrency community. That's what it would look like if they had their way. You go down screaming anti-bank, anti-government, set fire to a few buildings in order to get your way with a few blocks for a month or so. And then within weeks, in fact, I think even within a week, they had drugs, murder, prostitution, and what have you. That sounds like you need law and order again.
Yeah. No, I was watching a YouTuber called, his name's Andre Jake, something like that. He's really into crypto and stuff like that. And he mentioned this thing about the hacking system. He said, let's say for example, if someone tries to hack your account, right? What happens is it doubles, and then it takes the hacker into the role, into the path that it's just worth nothing. So basically they can't hack Bitcoin. That's what I got from it. He tried to make it into like a simple form where he said if someone tries to hack it, it doubles, and then it just leads them into the path that they basically can't hack your account.
Yeah, basically, if there's two different ways of looking at hacking when it comes to Bitcoin. If you're talking about hacking a network that hasn't been penetrated, and a way that if you do attempt to hack the network, you need to have in excess of majority power, so 51%. Now, even with that, it's kind of misunderstood because even when you achieve consensus of the network, that means that I can make edits to the ledger, right? That otherwise other people would not agree on in a consensus mechanism. Because I have overriding consensus, I've got that dictatorial position where I can make edits to the ledger and I can say, screw everyone else, I'm making these edits. But it's exponential curve because I can make edits within a 10-minute window that is yet to be confirmed. If I go back to another block 10 minutes prior, I need exponentially more horsepower to now change the edits in that record, but I still got to maintain the present. Right, so now my horsepower's here, now my horsepower's here. If I keep going back, I need more horsepower, and I need to maintain the record. Now, as I'm meddling with the ledger, the record, everyone else who doesn't agree with the BS that I'm doing, they continue mining their version of the chain. And then that version will continue getting longer, and I need to maintain with that version to then be the winning one, while also attacking the past. So I've got to attack the past, I've got to keep up with what's going on in the present, and I've got to make sure I've got a space in the future. It's very difficult. That's why it hasn't been achieved. And it always ends up ultimately in a forking of the two different respective approaches to maintaining a chain. Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV. Individuals, on the other hand, can very much be hacked. And that's due to your own individual operational security. So if you use a Trezor in good OPSEC, then you pretty much be fine. If you are just doing password and phrases and kind of leave them open in unencrypted ways and means and mechanisms, then you're more than likely you're not going to be vulnerable and compromised. But this is what I mean. The whole notion of people being their own bank puts that risk very much on the end user, and there's no recourse. There's no bank or FCA or body in the middle to say, I've been compromised. Can I please be reimbursed for my funds? I've been defrauded. You're just going to lose your money. But there would be a way to do it, which again shows just how amazingly different Bitcoin really works. And there's a case around the copyright of Bitcoin, but there's also another case around the theft of $4 billion worth of coins from Satoshi Nakamoto, that he's using the court system to have those coins returned back to him. Because there is a way of saying gold has been stolen from the kingdom, bring my gold back.
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy. I was watching videos on mining Bitcoin as well. It's so fascinating. It feels like anyone can just mine Bitcoin, right? If you have the right equipment, you can just set it up and you can just make money every single day just mining Bitcoin. It's really fascinating in that aspect.
Yeah, it's like any business, it's a balancing of economic factors. You need reliably cheap electricity, you need good hardware to be competitive, you need to have good uptime, good data connection and integrity. You need to be in a cheap location, good airflow, ideally low ambient temperature where you are, to lower your cooling requirements, your HVAC systems, etc. There's a lot of different economic parameters behind what makes mining efficient and profitable. And that dynamicism is what gives Bitcoin such a interesting security mechanism, because in order to stay competitive, you can't be stagnant. So you can't invest, say, 10 million in a mining operation and be like, okay, I'm done. You have to always continue to be investing in order to stay competitive, which means the hardware investment is assured for a long time horizon, because in order to recoup your initial investment, you have to do work, and that's why we call it proof of work. So it's not easy. Anyone can do it, but it's not easy to be profitable.
There's a lot of upfront costs as well, for sure, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I want to go off topic just a little bit here, because I know that you're educated in this field as well. NFTs. What are NFTs? Because it's kind of crazy, the whole concept of it to me, to what I've seen online. But what are NFTs for the listeners that don't know?
So NFTs are non-fungible tokens. So firstly, a fungible token basically would be a Bitcoin, that any Bitcoin is interchangeable for another Bitcoin in the same way that any pound coin is interchangeable for another pound coin. That is something that is fungible, that has fungibility. A non-fungible token is completely the opposite. It's a unique item. It has a unique identifier, and you can offer that as a one of a series. So it means that you can assign a logbook to any item, physical or non-physical. So if I had 2 Rolex watches, both of them are authentic, and one of them had box and papers, the other one had box, no papers, and I try to sell them both to you at the same price, do you think that's fair? Right? And the reason why it's not fair is because history and proof of ownership influences value. And that's what makes NFTs interesting. It's because you can create digital art. You can say this is a genuine one of one. You put your digital signature assigned to it, and people know that that is the genuine piece. So if there is a copy of that piece, even if it looks identical, that's irrelevant, because the proof and ownership influences value. So NFTs on the right technology, right foundation, where it doesn't cost you $500 to mint an NFT, or $100 to mint an NFT, then $500 to move it because of crazy Ethereum gas fees. With our technology, you can mint an NFT for less than $1, And to transfer the NFT, it'll cost you a fraction of a penny in order to do so. So our technology, which will be coming out soon, is the best technology in the world when it comes to NFTs. And it's going to really help bring NFTs mainstream because
I didn't catch that.
you're,
Could you try again?
you're limited. See, Siri, Apple's listening to me. Tim Cook's listening to me. What's my NFT plans? Yeah, it's going to be a game changer. It's going to be a real game changer when people really understand how powerful NFTs can be when you reduce the barrier to entry being the pricing side of it. Also, our solution isn't going to require you to have a Trezor and all of this other malarkey, buy Ethereum, have a MetaMask wallet, all the nerdy stuff that creatives just shouldn't have to fixate themselves with will be taken away by our implementation. So yeah, definitely watch this space with all things NFT and Gravity. To be honest, people are going to have to rush to the gates to get an account with us on it. But yeah, we're gonna be dropping some real interesting stuff with NFTs. But in a nutshell, non-fungible tokens, and it allows you to assign a logbook to any item, physical or non-physical. So the world is now our oyster. Your creation can now be manifest, and it can be sold directly on a peer-to-peer basis.
It's kind of crazy. It's crazy how everything is going, like technology is just increasing. Like no one would have thought that would be a thing, right? An NFT. Like no one would have thought something like, for example, Michael Jordan, dunking would sell for like millions. Anyone can just go on YouTube and just find that, right? And that's what a lot of people I spoke to, they say, oh, but you can just screen record it. But like you mentioned, it's different, right? It's different to actually having it.
Right. And someone wanted to use it in a Super Bowl ad, they need to pay you. Right? So if you own the rights to all of these moments, there's all these like things, even like Charlie bit my finger, right? That famous YouTube video. How many people have used that in their advertisement? There's an incredible amount of revenue associated to that. So value is a very arbitrary thing. And I think it's arrogance to the greatest extent of any one human being to assign or determine what value other human beings can assign and determine. Which is why our business model is to be a bank, because it's not my job to think about the dexterity of creation of human beings on earth. What my job is to do is that whatever it is that we create, I will allow us to house it. And that's what we're here. We're here to allow the world to house their creation and be able to trade their creation, because value now has become very arbitrary. With things like NFTs as a technology, we need a bank that speaks that language. Imagine going into Barclays saying, yo, I just bought this Beeple for 70 million, can you store it for me? But you should be able to have that conversation. A lot of money is being transacted. We should be able to have these types of conversations, but the world is not ready. They're sleeping, and it's great because they're the rhino and the elephants in the jungle. And right now, we're just a little fruit fly zipping around. But very soon, they're going to realize just how powerful what is being built in their otherwise status quo slumber.
Incredible. Yeah. Do you invest in like other stocks, not to do with crypto, but just general stocks, like the S&P 500, dividend stocks, anything like that?
Not really, not really. The only other thing is that I'll get exposure to every now and again would be other commodities, gold, silver, stocks every now and again. But to be honest with you, my stocks is my equity in my company. I can't assess or price any other equity out there better than I can myself, my own company. And we are a sleeping giant. We're not even close to fulfilling our true potential as a business. But we're very close to some very significant milestones that will really very much transform the company. So all eyes are on deck with Bitstocks and Gravity. This is my baby. This is where I can influence my creation and manifest it. I've got a fucking amazing team here who are helping us do that and who are taking it on board themselves and doing that. So We spent 7 years building a core team, which I would now say our core team, which we have 30 employees here, are probably at least 80%. I can't imagine many CEOs out there in this space definitely can say that their core team comprises at that quantity of employees at such a high concentration. That's been a very deliberate thing at this company. So yeah, this is the stocks and shares and equity that I invest in.
No, it's great what you touched on there. It's so important to have a team that believes in something as much as you believe in it yourself. So it's great. And what I'm going to do as well, I'm going to leave I'm sure you guys are on the App Store, right? Gravity.
We will be soon. We will be soon. Yeah, we will be soon. Very soon, actually. I've got the Gravity app on my phone. So we're testing it out right now. So very, very soon.
Perfect. But how would someone actually sign up for an account then? Would it just be through online, is it?
Yeah, so you go over to bitstocks.com/gravity, and that's the place to sign up. Or if you know someone with an introducer link, typically that's another way to sign up. But just go to bitstocks.com/gravity, and follow YouTube, it's Bitstocks Media, and on Twitter we have @GravityEco, as well as on Instagram it's @GravityEco.
Perfect. I'll try to leave all those links down below as well, so people can go and check them out 100%. Because that's what I'm going to do as soon as we're done with the call, just to look into it more. Because no, this is brilliant. It's only the start for you guys as well, which is absolutely incredible. Like I'm so excited to see the growth, because I know that something like this has potential. 100%, 100%. Yeah. So I just want to go back to yourself now. How do you keep the mindset that you have? Do you read books yourself? Do you meditate? How do you always stay in a positive state, so like it rubs off onto your employees?
Just living in truth. I'm not always in a positive state. Majority, I'm in a positive state, but when I'm in a negative one, just I own it. I can't be a beacon of light every single second of the day. I have my dark moments too. I think that acceptance in myself, I also extend to others, so they can be vulnerable around me too. And I think if you establish a place of vulnerability, then you can collectively help each other be strong. Ego is a terrible thing to carry for long, and it just denies everyone of opportunity to learn. So I hope that's the environment it is that we have here, a vulnerable one, and from vulnerability we build strength. And that just helps reinforces everybody's mind frame here. It means that I'm not some dictator saying that my way is the way. Everyone here can be vulnerable and become strong through that vulnerability. Just a very different way of doing things, I guess. But it means that when you're going into battle, you know who you've got by your side. And I think that's very important.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It helps you grow together, 100%. Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah. Is there anything that if there was a room of people right now in front of you and you had one thing to say to like what would that be? I know it's a broad question.
Understand your divinity. We all have amnesia. We're all born with amnesia. And no one is born with a manual of how to be human. So you're on your journey of mastery, whether you know it or not. Break your amnesia. Bring forth your pieces. To go back to what you was asking me in a prior question about do I read, etc., etc. I do. I used to really aggressively. Not so much in the last 18 months, to be honest, because you have outer knowledge and inner knowledge. Outer knowledge is the encapsulation of information from other human beings into one being. Got roughly 80, 90 years in order to do this, regulated by time. But also that's amazing, but it's also noisy because I'm taking in the discernment and the perspective of others. And it aids mine, but also it can blind mine. because I am my own being, and the unique thing about me and everybody else, and the unique thing that we all have, is our position in space-time. Being what I see, I'm the only person in the universe that sees what I see right now. There's 5 people sharing this space in this room with me right now. Every single person here has a unique perspective. Inner knowledge is really tapping into meditative processes, which I tend to like and call more simulations. But that's really your connection with yourself and your own divinity, your thought process, and just ask the real core fundamental questions like, who am I? What am I? What are we? And then when you get to the more fundamental level, I'm a composition of cells. I'm a chemical factory, but each cell has 100 million atoms. Each atom has the nuclei being a proton, and each atom is 99.999% space. I'm a composition predominantly of empty space, as is everything else. What does that mean? Why am I focused on a 0.0001? And why is all our academic processes focused on a 0.001? String theory, Einstein was part of the 0.001 within a visible light spectrum and within 3 dimensions. Is that my be all and end all? No. So it allows me to navigate my way through this reality like a holiday. I believe I walk this earth very consciously on my earth holiday, quite frankly, because of these understandings. And to always be a child and upgrade these understandings with time and as time goes on.
Wow. That's incredible.
That was a very long-winded thing, but you said if you want to say one thing to an audience, but yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. No, thank you so much, Michael. Honestly, yourself, your whole team, you're all easygoing, you're all easy to talk to, and I really appreciate that. I want to say as well, sorry about the other day, I forgot to say happy birthday to you when I was messaging you, so happy birthday for the other day.
Bro, I appreciate it.
Yeah, and what I'll do, guys, I'll leave all of Michael's social media down below. I'll leave all of the the websites to go and check out Gravity, so make sure you go and do that. But yeah, is there anything you want to say now just before I let you go, Michael?
I will say one thing. So we called Gravity knocking on the door 3 years ago on the hunch and the basis that as we start to gain traction with our model, we'll start to unveil more as to why we've called Gravity from a numerological, mathematical, and say technological inspiration standpoint, but also really bold ones as to who we are as a global collective, human beings, where we're going next and what our next chapter is. And part of that would be that we will be known to be an interplanetary civilization. We already are, in my opinion, but we will be publicly known to be an interplanetary civilization. Barack Obama, on my birthday, May 18th, on Saturday Night Live, basically declared UFOs exist. And we've been, loads of different publications been doing that recently, really aggressively. Now, this is, in my opinion, yes, they exist, but these aren't what they're talking about, UFOs, because they're not unidentified, because these are our technology. So if these our technology, what does that mean in terms of gravitational control? What does that mean in terms of energy, over unity energy? And money on planet Earth is the way that we price human productivity, time, ultimately energy. So if we have technology that brings abundance in energy, what does that mean for the pricing of time on the planet? So our vision is grand, and our time horizon is grand. We are looking at Earth, not just in the immediate, oh great, Bitcoin company, and let's make some great money and prosperity over the next 3 years, 5 years. It's what does the world look like in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? Because of these revelations that we very passionately and very diligently have been researching and have, to a degree, a foot in these respective camps. Humanity is going to be very, very different, and that's our big bet. I'll leave on that point, I guess.
No, that's amazing. No, I love that so much. Yeah. No, thank you so much again, Michael. Honestly, I really appreciate you. I'm excited to see where this goes. I know that, it's just a big sorry. I know that's just the beginning, so the only way is up. So yeah, no, that's brilliant. Yeah, thank you so much, and take care. Say hello to everyone on your team.
I appreciate the interview, man. Thank you so much. All the best, bro. Love and light. Take care.